William Hill sponsors Martin vs. Joshua on Sky Sports Box Office.
Radio Raheem here with Eddie Hearn. We're once again waiting for just a few days to tick off to see another super fight put on by Matchroom. You guys are at the O2 Arena, heavyweight title on the line. Now, everybody knows that Anthony Joshua was headed towards a title shot. Nobody thought this fast. Talk to me about how this fight came about.
And Charles Martin called Anthony Joshua out. His promoters come on. I said, is this for real? They went, yeah. Obviously, he wanted a lot of money, but we could do that. And it was just a case of whether Anthony would take the fight and, whether he felt like it was the right time. Forgetting everything, forgetting the world title, it was just, can you beat Charles Martin? And the answer was, yes, I believe I can. And when you say that, you have to take the fight, So people come on and say, yeah, it's a bit early. No, it's the fight. Forget the title, it's the fight. It's a tough fight. Charles Martin looked big, he looked fast, he looked awkward. It's a real fight.
Now, from a promoter's perspective, how much of a risk is it to take a golden boy like this and put him in so tough so early?
Massive risk. That's what life's all about, isn't it? We're gambling, we're rolling the dice, but maybe we're ready, maybe we're not. We'll find out on Saturday night. We believe we are, and the rewards at the end of it are just phenomenal. So, as Anthony texted me when I asked him and said, do you want the fight? Let's roll. And that's what we're doing.
Now, you're working again with Al Haymon. This will be the second time in a row for these big fights, starting to establish a relationship. If that relationship continues, that can make for a lot of big fights. Do you feel like you and Haymon are be able to continue this relationship and make these big fights in the future?
Yeah, everything's around money. People said, they wouldn't send Charles Martin, he'd fight Deontay Wilder. Once you come up with enough money, they're coming. Doesn't matter who they are. In some fights you can come up with that money, in some fights you can't. So, Frampton Quigg was a good example of that. We made that happen because there was a lot of money on the line. Martin Joshua the same. Other fights, Brook Broner, Brook Garcia. These are fights I'd love to make. We have to come up with the money. If we do, they'll come. If we don't, they won't. It's simple maths.
Now, go ahead. Martin's been willing to come over here into his backyard. He's put himself at every disadvantage almost. But I was going to work towards Broner Brook, which looks like a fight that makes perfect sense. In a situation like that, is Brook willing to travel back to America to face a guy when he's actually the champion himself?
Not just travel there, walk there. Adrien Broner would not fight Kell Brook in a million years at 147 pounds.
Why?
He would get absolutely destroyed against Kell Brook. You don't play with Kell Brook. You don't come in ill-prepared, heavy. Kell Brook's another level. Ask anyone in boxing, they'll tell you this kid's got it all. That's why it's so difficult to get him these fights. So we've got to come up with the money, or we've got to travel. We'll do one or the other. But he'll beat them all.
Is that fight as attractive to you now that Broner's lost his title on the scale?
Yeah, because that was at 140. So if Broner wants a shot at the world title at 147, he's got it. But he won't fight Kell Brook.
Do you think Danny Garcia will fight Kell Brook?
No.
Same reason?
Yeah, I don't think they're comfortable at 147 pounds. I don't think they've made up their mind yet. And if you're between 140 and 147, the last thing you do is fight Kell Brook. Because he's more like 160. He's like fighting a middleweight. That's what fighting Kell Brook's like. So if you're a light welter, not a light welterweight, but a light welter, you're banging trouble against Kell Brook. Yeah.
Now, before we let go of Kell Brook, there's been some statements made that he's even interested in Triple G, which is a huge bite. Obviously, we know Amir Khan's fighting Canelo. Is he just trying to match up with what Khan's doing to call him out, kind of through the back door?
Those comments were made after the Canelo fight, and Brook wanted me to go out and make a super fight. I spoke to Tom Loeffler, and, that was what we're looking at. Brook makes 154 would probably be ideal for Brook. 156, 157, maybe. But don't rule out the GGG fight either.
160.
No, not 160.
No, you'd make him come down.
156, 157.
All right, well, we'll be talking to you all week.
All right.
The maybe soon-to-be champ is on the way over. Radio Raheem with Eddie Hearn.